I was muted.
Okay, 1 second. I'm gonna spotlight Bev. Okay. Can you put it in slideshow for me, Curtis? Over slideshow over to the at the top. Yes. Oh Lord. Hold on, Curtis. I'm still recording, but I'm gonna get Amalia to edit this for me, or Curtis will. Go back, Curtis, and take out that Nurse Beverly is a, I didn't get to finish typing it. We can just take this. Okay, good evening, everyone. Tonight we have the privilege to speak and have a dialogue with Nurse Beverly. And at this moment, we'll have her introduce herself and tell us about her wonderful accomplishments.
Good evening, everyone. So as Kia mentioned, my name's Beverly Heatley. I am a registered nurse. I've got almost 40 years of nursing experience in acute care, in nursing education, in nursing management. Currently, I am in the clinical learning department supporting the new graduate nurses that come into our hospital system down here in Fort Myers, Florida. So I am pleased to be here with everyone.
Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. Question, can you tell us about the software upgrade that took place at the hospital where you work?
So Lee Health, which is the hospital system I work with in Fort Myers, Florida, transitioned to the Epic medical health record about 10-12 years ago. It's been a while. We were currently previously using Clinicomp, so we transitioned to Epic house-wide, actually system-wide, but it was done in steps.
When you say steps, what do you mean?
So we have 5 acute care facilities. We've got a nursing home. We've got outpatient healthcare centers. We've got lead physicians. So when the upgrade took place, it was phased in based on each hospital. So they phased it in hospital by hospital, and then phased in the nursing home, phased in the outpatient centers, phased in anesthesia at a later date. So it was stepped up. It wasn't like everybody got it all at once.
Thank you for that. This might be actually a redo of the question or the answer you just gave, but how did the hospital prepare for the software upgrade?
So once the system decided to buy Epic, they actually hired from within nurses and technical people from within the hospital to actually, they became the Epic team, the Epic department. And they actually were flown to, I believe it was Minneapolis, maybe, wherever Epic lives. And they actually learned the system from the bottom up. Then they had to come back and actually build for each department. So surgical service had somebody building theirs, the lab had somebody building theirs, respiratory had somebody building theirs, because everybody, even though we were all on Epic, each department was a little bit different. There was a couple of people from acute care building theirs. So, and then from that point forward, once they built each department's Epic application, then it was rolled out to the individual departments by hospital.
Thank you, Nurse Beverly. And once it was rolled out, how were you and the other staff members trained on the new software?
So once they decided, okay, so we're going to roll out Epic, in another 3 months, every unit, every department had super users, and the super users were then trained on the Epic application. Once the super users were trained, then they were able to assist when the rollout came through. So, as I said, surgical services had super users, the lab, respiratory, radiology, et cetera, had super users. The units had several super users per shift, so that there was that added layer of support. There's also IT had super users, and we still have the Epic support team that kind of make sure that there's no glitches, like when new nurses come in or there's a new application, things like that. So it was a process to get everybody, all your super users trained and then rolled out to the end users.
Okay. May I ask, what challenges did you face during the transition to the new software? And when I say
there's always this isn't going to work.
Okay.
All the doubting Thomases are like, oh, this isn't going to work. And I'll be honest with you, when I first saw, at the time that it was rolled out, I was working in pre-op, and I was trained as a super user. And when I first went to use it, I was like, it's going to take me forever to try to, get through this with a patient, and we're supposed to get them done and over to the OR. It actually, once you use it, it's like anything else. Once you use it, it's not as difficult as it seems. It was just, it's a change. So it was really just getting used to the change. But once people started using it, trust me, I will not go back to what we were using prior, not for love nor money. So really, it was challenging because it was just different.
Right. So there was some resistance initially.
Yes, the usual, why do we have to do this? Why do we need this? The usual grousing and complaining that goes along with change.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Thank you, Jareen, for that question as well. My question, closely related, is how has the new software impacted your work as a nurse now that it's implemented?
Well, I mean, right now I'm away from the bedside, but while I was at bedside, I happen to like Epic because there's more than one way to get to the information you're looking for. For some people, it makes them a little nutty because they're like, well, that's not how I was told to get to it. Well, the end result is, did you get to the information? So Epic really, the way that it's created, you can get to the same information you need by several different routes. I think it just makes life a little bit easier. When prior to Epic, when we were waiting for patient histories and things like that, we had to wait for the office to open, fax it to us. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. With Epic, everything is electronic. The physicians put everything right into Epic. They have access. So your information is right there at your hand. So we don't have to wait for patient histories. We don't have to wait for EKGs. We don't have to wait for chest x-rays if they were done outside of the system, because everything is put right into Epic. So I think it just streamlines what we have to do, and it eliminates a whole lot of paper.
Wow, that sounds really beneficial to nurses. So questions, looking at the future, what recommendations would you suggest to other nonprofit hospital management leaders who might be experiencing new software implementation?
I think ultimately you have to get the input of the end users. Mm-hmm. To build the system was one thing, but once it was implemented, when we decided to go live with Epic, the hospital that I was in went live first. And we were kind of like the test dummies. So we figured out all the glitches, we figured out all the problems, what was missing, what should have been there, what shouldn't have been there. And I think if you're going to implement a new system, make sure that everybody is trained, make sure that everybody's on board, take your time and listen to the end users, because no system, you can create all the systems in the world, but if it doesn't benefit the end user, it's of no use.
Yes, that is great advice. Thank you so much for this candid conversation and dialogue with Nurse Beverly. Team B greatly appreciates you and your wisdom. And
you're so welcome.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Have a good evening.
You as well. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Hold on. How do I stop the record? Oh,